Hello, everyone. Welcome to NBS Hoop League, Keeping It Real with Roz Turner. I'm your host, Roz Turner. I apologize if you were just on with us. We were experiencing some technical difficulties, but hopefully now everything's all straightened out and we're ready to go. So let's get right into this week's Keeping It Real Power Rankings. Unfortunately, the official NBS Power Rankings did not go up this week. Because At the Buzzer did not air on Wednesday night. However, we want you to stay tuned to next Wednesday's show. We'll have a new host for this Wednesday. NBS At the Buzzer will be Mr. Trey Bramlett, the owner and head coach of Gotham City. So we want to welcome Mr. Bramlett to the At the Buzzer family. And we look forward to your show on next Wednesday night. Monday night will be Dennis Thompson on At the Buzzer. So stay tuned next week, Monday and Wednesday, for At the Buzzer. Tonight, we're going to go over the Keeping It Real Power Rankings first. I just want to get everything pulled up here. So bear with me. Thank you so much. Okay, so welcome everyone. So the Keeping It Real Power Rankings, we have Fast Forward at number 1. They've been number 1 all season. They have a perfect record thus far at 9-0. If they go the final 3 games of the season and they win their final 3 games, they will make NBS history as being the only team in NBS history to go undefeated in the regular season. So congratulations thus far to Fast Forward. You're on the right track, definitely. If you guys finish these last 3 games, you guys have the Mob in week 10, the Vets in week 11, and them boys, which I'm sure will be game of the week, in week 12. So if you can beat those 3 teams, you will finish with a perfect record and go and make NBS history. So far, right now, our history makers are Greatness. In season 1, Greatness went 9-1, and them boys went 10-1 in season 3. So those are the highest records right now in the NBS history. We're looking forward to see what unfolds with Team Fast Forward. Number 2 in the Keeping It Real Power Rankings are them boys. They currently have an 8-1 record. We all know that they own the breaker over Dynasty, and they are locked in a playoff spot. So as far as the power rankings, they own it over Dynasty, and Dynasty comes in at number 3. They are the top team right now in the East. They also have a locked-in playoff spot, as we said last week on Keeping It Real. But we'll talk more about the playoff spots in just a moment. Rock Boys is number 4 in the Keeping It Real Power Rankings at a record of 7-2. Bears are number 5 with a record of 6-3. They own the breaker. They actually own the breaker over Gotham City due to a forfeit. So I'm not really sure why in the standings it's Gotham City. Okay, yep, Gotham City, they own the breaker due to a forfeit. So, yep, they should be next. And then under, so I'm looking at the standings, though, and they have Gotham City over Bears, but Gotham City forfeited. So, actually, Bears should be next in the actual standings, Eastern Conference standings. It should be Bears and then Gotham City. Gotham City should be number 4 due to that forfeit. So Bears, you are currently at number 3, and Gotham City, you are at number 4, and I'm talking about in the Eastern standings. But also it's the same order in the Keeping It Real Power Rankings. Number 7 is Phenom. Phenom is currently 5-4. There are 3 5-4 teams currently in the East. Phenom owns the tiebreaker against No Limit, so they are above No Limit. That is correct in the Eastern Conference standings. But I have NWO next instead of No Limit. I have NWO next. They're 5-4. I placed them as tied with Phenom because they have not played Phenom yet, or they have not played No Limit yet. So they have not lost to either team. So I put them above No Limit since No Limit lost to Phenom. So in my power rankings, No Limit is at number 9. And NWO is above them. And actually, I believe in the Eastern Conference standings, the officials, that NWO should be above No Limit. Moving on, we have number 10, Ballers. Ballers has been a pretty consistent team. They're 4-5 right now. They beat the Mob this past week, so they on the breaker against the Mob. But nevertheless, as we move into the West standings, I would make some changes there as well. Of course, you guys know Fast Forward, them boys are 1 and 2. I would put Ballers at 3. However, I would put Knowles at 4 and Mob at 5. So I would switch the Knowles and the Mob because I would say the Knowles is technically tied with the Ballers because the Knowles have not played the Ballers yet. They played the Ballers in week 12, and they have not played the Mob yet, which they play in week 11. So they have not lost to either one of those teams. But since the Ballers beat the Mob, the way that I would order the 4 and 5 teams would be Ballers, Knowles, and then the Mob. And that's how I think it should be ordered in the Western Conference standings as well. And finally, so 10 is Ballers, and then keeping the real power rankings, 11 is Knowles, and 12 is the Mob. So I kind of just pretty much explained that order. Now, the Keeping It Real Power Rankings always end at 12, but I thought I'd just say this just for the next upcoming team. If it did go to 13, it would be Greatness out in the East. They are 4 and 5 as well, but since they lost their 2 non-conference games to the Mob and the Knowles, they would be 13. And so that's it for the Keeping It Real Power Rankings. We also saw that there could be some inconsistencies in the Eastern and Western standings that are posted right now. So nevertheless, I would make those changes based on the teams that have not played yet. So now, in regards to the current standings, and we're talking about different playoff spots right now, we talked about some alterations that we would make that came up as I was looking at the power rankings. But let's talk about the Western Conference first. We already know that Fast Forward has a locked-in spot, of course, in the playoffs. Them Boys has a locked-in spot in the playoffs currently right now as well. Ballers, they own the breaker over the Mob. So this is really... Ballers, it's a key game for you coming up because you guys need the win because you're at a 3-way tie. So of course, Ballers, Mob, Knowles, bottom line is you guys need the win because of course whatever team wins is going to get the advantage. And you don't really want to be in a tiebreaker type of situation. So but Ballers, you're at the best place you could be currently owning that tiebreaker spot. You guys have yet to battle the Knowles. So you guys will battle the Knowles in week... let's see. And actually, the Knowles and the Mob battles in week 11. So that's also going to be a key game for both teams. Because pretty much whoever wins that is going to take that tiebreaker. But Ballers, you battle the Knowles in week 12. So Knowles, you're really in a tight spot right now. You really need to win. Even if you lost to the Thunderbirds in this upcoming week, you really need to win in week 11 against the Mob, and you need to win in week 12, against the Ballers. But if Ballers win in week 12 and they continue to win or either at least win one of their 2 other games, I do believe that they will have a good chance of entering into the playoffs this season. So currently Ballers, you're tied for number 3 in the West. And I say you're tied with the Knowles because you haven't battled them yet. The Mob in week 11. Yep. So Knowles, you need to win those 2 key games to really pretty much stay in the runnings. And you guys also have to remember that Thunderbirds are creeping up in the rankings as well. So Knowles, you really need to win against the Thunderbirds because the Thunderbirds are right under you. And if you lose to them, you guys will have the same record and they will own the breaker. They will take your spot and now possibly bumping you out, which depending on what the Ballers and the Mob do. So Knowles pretty much need to win the next 3 games to stay in it. Thunderbirds, if you win, you could take someone's spot. You could move higher up depending on what the Legends do. But it's just real tight in the West. It's real tight. So it's from the Ballers down to the Legends, none of you guys are really locked in. Vets and Cobras, Vets, you guys could sneak up and get a 6 seed spot just based on if you win the next 3 weeks, and then some key teams lose, like the Thunderbirds and Legends will have to lose for you guys to kind of move in. But nevertheless, it's a possibility. So you are not counted out yet. Cobras, I would not even, you guys are not counted out yet either. Now Vets, you do battle them boys coming up, so it won't be an easy win for you guys, but nevertheless, it is possible. Cobras, you are kind of maybe in a better position. You battle Outcast. I'm not going to say that's a guaranteed win for you. I am going to say that you have a good chance of winning in that battle. And then Cobras, you guys have, let's see, where are you? You guys have the Legends. So Legends, that is also a key game for you guys as well. Because pretty much Legends, the way that you sit, how you were pushed out in that 1 week, Legends, you guys really need to win the next 3 games. Because everybody above you is so close. So if anybody's gonna be getting bumped down, it's gonna be you, because you're already 2 games, well, you're 1 game behind. But with the Thunderbirds owning the tiebreaker, you might as well say you're 2 slots behind. So that's what's going on in the Western Conference of MBS. Bottom line is win as many games in the next 3 as you can. All of the 4 and 5 teams definitely don't get too comfortable because some of you guys are battling and it's going to come down to just that. In these, we know that Dynasty pretty much has a locked-in spot. They don't have a definite locked-in number 1 seed spot because Rock Boys are really, close to them at 7 and 2. But nevertheless, Dynasty does have a locked-in spot. Now, I would even go and say that Rock Boys also have a locked-in spot because when I did the math of the worst possible scenario for Rock Boys, they could finish 7 and 5. But based on the teams that are underneath them, Gotham City at 6 and 3, Bears at 6 and 3. Phenom at 5 and 4, No Limit at 5 and 4, and even NWO over there with 5 and 4. Nevertheless, because these teams are battling for a spot, that even in their worst case scenario, if Rock Boys lost the next 3 games, according to my calculations, you guys would still have a spot in the playoffs. So I would say Rock Boys, you guys have a locked in spot. Congratulations to the Rock Boys. But nevertheless, between this huge little tiebreaker going on in the East, I kind of worked this out. It was a little complicated. So try to stay with me, but so we have Rock Boys, they're locked in as well. They still have to play Gotham City in week 12. But the good part about Rock Boys having a locked in spot is that they already beat the next best 4 teams. They already beat them. This is why Rock Boys has a locked in spot, because they already beat Bears. They already beat Phenom. Correct me, producer, if I'm wrong in any of this, but I believe they already beat Bears. They already beat Phenom, No Limit, and NWO. So with that, Rock Boys, you guys are pretty much locked in because that is the whole next lineup of people possibly getting into the top 6. So that's pretty much locked in. And so there's no way they all can finish with the same record either, because there are some teams within that tiebreaker that still have to battle. So there's no way they can all finish with a top record. So nevertheless, Rock Boys, you're in. Now, I didn't really calculate this, but I'm looking at that Greatness did beat you guys. And should Greatness move up the scale, which it is going to be it's not going to be very difficult, but it could pose difficult because Greatness is a game behind the tiebreaker of Phenom, No Limit, and NWO. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that one of those people are already in the 6th spot. So it's going to be, I highly doubt if Rock Boys move so far below that they would even be in competition with a tiebreaker with Greatness. But if that should happen, Greatness does own that tiebreaker. But I doubt if Rock Boys would fall that far down, even if they lost 2 out of the next 3 games. They probably wouldn't fall that far down. So Greatness probably won't be able to catch the Rock Boys. Gotham City. Now Gotham City, I am not locking you into the playoffs yet, because you're currently kind of tied with Bears 6-3, and Bears owns that tiebreaker, and then you only have 1 game advantage above 3 other teams. So 1 game could totally change your slot. You could go from 3 to 6 or 3 and 5. 3 to 5 is what I would say, only because Gotham City, you need to win this Sunday against No Limit. No Limit is at 5-4. So if No Limit wins, they will have the same record as you, and plus they will own the tiebreaker. And No Limit will own the breaker with Gotham. If Phenom loses to the Warriors this upcoming Sunday, then Phenom will have the same record as well, so it will also be in that huge tiebreaker. And Phenom owns the tiebreaker over No Limit, but Gotham owns it over Phenom. So because if that scenario happens, that's like a 3-way tiebreaker. Who does the Bears play? Greatness. Okay, and if the Bears lose, then they'll be in that tiebreaker as well. But with those 3 teams, because each one of you guys own it over another part of that team, I would think that it would go to non-conference. I need my laptop. What happened? Okay, so anyways, so yeah, so we will go into non-conference with if Gotham City should lose this upcoming week to break that tie. So to avoid all that altogether, Gotham City, bottom line is you guys need to win. You guys need to beat No Limit. That would further seal you guys into the playoffs, because then you will own that tiebreaker, and that's like a 4-way tie. Now, NWO, you currently sit at 5-4 as well. If you happen to manage a victory over Dynasty, now you would be, if you win, you would own the tiebreaker based on, it's going to be based on what Phenom and No Limit do as well. So you guys are kind of in a real tight spot. NWO, you definitely are still in it. Matter of fact, I put you above No Limit, so technically you're number 6 in my book. But and No Limit is trying to get into number 6. Greatness, Monstars, you guys are not counted out just yet, but you guys definitely need to win all 3 games. And you 2 battle in week 12. It's going to be Greatness versus Monstars. So if both of you end up winning the next 2 weeks, so week 10 and 11, something in the 4-way breaker happens where 2 of the teams lose or something happens like that, you guys could creep in and take the 6th seed, but only one of you could get it because you 2 battle. So and Warriors, I didn't really analyze you guys. I would just say win games and see where you fall. It's going to be a tough one because you have so many teams that are so close. So that's pretty much the bottom line on the playoffs. So we have a few teams that are safe and most teams that are not. So you want to win games. Yes. You need the laptop? Oh, I'm sorry. My producer needs the laptop. It's going to slide it to me. You know what? Will it charge? Because I think it's on. working. Hopefully not. I think I brought my charger in here. Is it working or do I need to actually turn it on? Press the button. I have to put in the code. Did it come on? Okay, so moving right along. Sorry, we had a couple technical difficulties, but we're good now. I do have someone coming on the show tonight. So let me see if I can contact her. We're expecting to have Miss Dominique Brown on Keeping It Real tonight. We're just gonna put her in the hot seat as being this current season. She is one. She's the only. Is she the only women coach right now? Is there? But doesn't Dynasty have a female coach as well? So she's one of the only. She's not the only one, but she's one of the only female coaches right now in MBS. She's the assistant coach for Gotham City under Trey Bramlett. So we're gonna try to give her a FaceTime call. So what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna not do that. And then I'm gonna try to Facebook call her. I'm not sure if she has an iPhone. But FaceTime didn't come up as an option, so let's try to video call Miss Brown. We'll see if she picks up. We want to turn up the volume here. Hi, Dominique. How are you? So we have, good. So we have Miss Brown here, assistant coach for Gotham City. Welcome. Are you driving right now, Dominique?
No, keep us driving.
Oh, okay, great. We don't want you talking and driving, but she's in the passenger seat, so we're safe. So welcome to Keeping It Real, Dominique. So a couple questions we have for you. You are currently the assistant coach for Gotham City under Trey Bramlett. So just tell us a little bit about just a quick history of your basketball, of how you got into basketball, Dominique, or what's your history in basketball?
I come from a basketball family for the most part. Everybody in my family plays basketball, so it was kind of like a sin not to play. I've been playing since I was like maybe 6, but
Great.
it wasn't really my thing as strongly as was my family, so
Great.
I just more so was the coach of the family.
Great. Well, and I've seen you on the court, Dominique. You can play. Now, have you? Did you play in high school?
Yeah, I played for Avondale.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. So you can play. So that's great. That's always a plus in coaching, knowing the game. So now working with Trey Bramlett, this is your first year coaching. Just tell us a little bit about how is it working with Trey Bramlett? How's your first year of coaching going? How is it working with Gotham City? After 3 name changes, but go ahead.
Right. It had ups and downs from we went through almost 100 different rosters. So actually getting to know the players and setting to learn about them and their roles on the team.
Right.
Switching that up plenty of times. It was kind of hard, but I feel like now that we have our set team, it's easier to coach them. We know their weaknesses and their strengths.
Awesome.
And so watching the NBA, I pretty much know almost every team's weakness for the most part.
Oh, awesome. So speaking of teams' weaknesses, Dominique, you're currently ranked in the Eastern Conference at number 3, but it's kind of a shaky spot. Well, actually, technically you should be number 4, Dominique, because Bears should be over you because of the forfeit. So technically number 4. The next 3 teams below you guys all have a 5-4 record. So you guys only have a 1 game advantage. So like this upcoming week can really make the difference whether you guys go from 4 to 6 or 4 to 7. So you guys are battling No Limit, which is part of that that three-way tiebreaker this coming up week. So how do you guys feel about going into this upcoming week? You guys really need to win this game to own the tiebreaker. So just speak a little bit about your confidence going into this upcoming week's game against No Limit.
This week is gonna be tough. We are missing, I want to say at least, I feel like 3 key players
Oh, no.
in their other league. But with No Limit, I'm really just gonna tell my team to drive a lot because No Limit has tendencies to foul or sometimes get frustrated with each other.
Right.
As long as we do how we play and what we do, we should be straight.
That is awesome. That is awesome coaching advice. And so you know you might be at a bit of a disadvantage. You might be missing some key players. Nevertheless, you're going in there with confidence. That's great. So now if you guys win this game, then you guys will own the breaker over No Limit. I believe you guys will still be in the running. It's kind of going to be based on what Phenom does, what Bears does, and what NWO does. But moving into week 11, I mean, I think you guys really don't need to lose any games. You might can afford to lose one, but No Limit is not when you want to lose. Moving into week 11, you guys have, I'm sorry, one of your other names is on this paper. You guys have Greatness. So how do you feel about the battle with Greatness? Greatness is going to come out very hungry because they're trying to fight for the 6th seed spot right now, where you guys might, be more at a better place than them. But just speak a little bit about the week 11 game against Greatness.
Week 11 game against Greatness, that's going to be, to me, my personal opinion, one of our better games. For me, it's more of like a touchy game because I'm close to Coach Bates in a way. I feel like we really have to stop their shooters. Once you knock down their key shooters, then the game should be in more of our favor. We're gonna have all of our players back from the other league. They'll be done with that league, so all of our players will be here. And if we just lock down their players, their key players, then we should be good.
So defense should win that game. Okay, sounds good.
Definitely should win that game.
Okay, and then wrapping up the season in week 12, you guys have Rock Boys. Rock Boys currently have a locked-in spot in the Eastern Conference at number 2. Even if they fall down in those rankings, it's very likely that they are still going to move into the playoffs. So I don't know how that will affect Rock Boys, knowing that they pretty much have a locked-in spot right now. If they're going to come out any lighter, I highly doubt it. They're a very hard-playing team. How do you feel about going into week 12 against Rock Boys? Do you feel pretty confident in there? Are you going to have all your key players? Just speak a little bit on week 12, if you will, Dominique.
Rock Boys, I have very much high respect for that organization.
Yes.
Just from the last 3 seasons I've watched, they've always been a strong team. That one, I feel like that's going to be probably our second challenging game.
Okay.
But they're working as one unit. Even the bench, when they're not in the game, they're helping out on the floor with calling out screens and all that. They're a very good team, a very great team, I should say.
They are.
So it's going to be difficult for us. We will really have to work as a one unit. None of that crybaby stuff.
Right.
Arguing with refs, we have to be on our P's and Q's that game.
Right. I agree. So that sounds good, Miss Dominique. So it sounds like you guys have a solid plan. You sound like an excellent coach. Just watching some of your coaching skills on the sideline, it looks like you guys are doing a really good job over there in Gotham City. So once you guys settle on a name, sounds like you guys are doing really well. Yes. Well, you guys don't have a choice. Front office is not approving any more Gotham City sensational pirate checks. Right. So, well, thank you so much, Ms. Dominique. Do you have any final words of advice, maybe for some of the other teams that aren't doing as well as you guys, and even out, in the West, they're fighting over there for the 6th seed spot as well. There's even the 5th seed spot. They have like a 3-way tie out in the West. So, you have any of coaching advice for some of the teams that you see are struggling? Some key pointers you may want to give them moving into the last 3 weeks of the season.
I mean, just any spot that you have now to be taken away from you unless you're just in the top spot. But don't get too excited over one win. You got to win more than one.
Right.
And if you have like 2 wins or no wins, just keep playing. At the end of the day, be happy that you are still able to be out here and play.
Right.
Some people don't have that anymore. So just we told you the little
Right. Awesome. Well, we thank you so much, Ms. Dominique, for coming on the show, for taking time out, for keeping it real. You've been wonderful, and we wish you and Gotham City the best for the rest of the season. Thank you. You have a good night. Okay, so that was Coach Dominique Brown for Gotham City. She had a lot of great advice. She kind of is really paying attention to the other team. She kind of knows the strategies of the other team. So I think that's something that a coach definitely needs to know in this competitive league of MBS. So we want to go ahead and wrap up for tonight. I'm sorry I haven't seen anyone's comments or anything, but I'm gonna ask my producer. Does anyone have any questions? If you want to reiterate them back to me or anything. If you guys want to shout out your teams before we get off the air, or if my producer knows what teams are on, he can shout you out because he's looking at the screen for me.
Coach Love and Jay Ratliff.
Oh, okay, so we have Dynasty on and Fast Forward on. Okay, well, we thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. And I'm Roz Turner, and I'm just keeping it real.